Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the tech and infotainment breakdown on the 2024 Honda Ridgeline. In this video, we're going to take a look at how the new 7-inch digital gauge cluster works and the 9-inch center touch screen, show you how to pair up a phone, use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, the built-in navigation, test out the voice controls, and try to answer any questions you might have. Starting right off here in front of us, we have a new semi-digital gauge cluster, if you will. So right on the right side, you've got an analog speedometer. That's still pretty standard. And then in the middle, you have a digital speedometer. That's always there. Below that, you have your odometer, outside temperature, gear selected, also dry mode in there. I skipped right there. It's normal dry mode right now. And then fuel gauge down at the very bottom. Then over on the right side, you have a customizable screen. And this is going to show you anything from your tachometer on the outside to various information. Right now it's showing us fuel range and average MPG. We can scroll through A or B using the scroller knob on the left. And then if I press home, that brings us up a menu to scroll through the various different contents that you can have on the screen. So if we go up to no content and let that time out there for a moment, you'll see it's just a regular looking analog tachometer. But press home again, we go down, we can adjust the brightness for the screen, scroll up, or scroll down. You're not really seeing any difference right now, but if it were nighttime, then you'd see the change. Gauge display settings. Under there, you can scroll through and choose which one of these screens you want enabled or disabled. Right now, we've got them all on there. And going back down to warnings, if it were giving us any warnings, such as a low tire pressure or maintenance needed, we could see those there. Range and fuel, we saw that. Speed and time, that shows us our average speed and elapsed time driving, as well as our tripometer there for both A and B. Below that, what audio you're playing. Right now we're using some of our USB audio, and I can rotate through our sources right there. Nice to be able to do that from your screen. Phone, when you have a phone paired up, you can make calls to your favorite contacts and see your recent calls. Under navigation, that'll show you a compass if you don't have any navigation going. Let's see, actually, if it'll show you actual navigation coming up. If you show you a compass, and then if you scroll down, you can say go home if you have your home address saved, or go through saved places or recent places. Let's see where this truck's gone recently. Starbucks. Big surprise. So if we choose that and it starts routing on the center screen, now you see our next upcoming turn right there coming up on the left screen. So it shows you how far till your next turn and which direction you're going to go. That's nice to have built right into the screen there. Going back, we've got all-wheel drive torque distribution. That's going to show you how much power is being sent to each individual wheel. Maintenance, right now it says we have 90% left on our oil life for maintenance A. Tire pressure readout, all 4 tires there, live PSI, and we're back to no content. I really like this setup of screen from Honda. It's giving you pertinent information if you want it over there on the left, but then you can clean it up to a nice simple gauge cluster. I will say, however, I think it's a step backward to be including the analog speedometer there. I know some people like it visually, but the older Ridgelines that simply had your digital speed were plenty enough for me. Making our way over to the center screen, all the Ridgelines are now getting this 9-inch infotainment screen. I actually really like how it works, and some people are going to appreciate how it's built nicely into the dash. Will say that with its angle, kind of angling up, if you have a sunroof open or just the right sort of sunlight, you can get some glare, but I actually don't really notice it too bad when I'm just sitting here in my normal 5'10" driving position. I also got to say I really appreciate having physical climate controls here in this truck. It's kind of funny that the not very truck-like truck has become essentially old school in a lot of ways, and just having nice, straightforward physical controls here and a pretty simple gauge and infotainment layout. We have some physical buttons on the left side for home and back. We have a physical volume control and physical track controls, like having those. And then along the top, pretty much with whatever screen you're on, you're going to get quick toggles to your audio source, your currently playing audio, and then your clock and phone information. If you press up there on that clock, you can get to a larger clock display here. Right now it's set for analog, but we can actually change that to various different clock faces, including digital ones. Clicking on that clock also gives us the ability to adjust our date and time. Coming to the home menu, you've got different applications right here that you can choose, kind of similar to a phone tile layout. Let's skip all apps for now and go directly into navigation. We can see Honda's built-in navigation system here. Honestly, one of the better ones on the market. It is simple, but sometimes that's all you want for a built-in navigation is just simplicity. A lot of times, if I'm using built-in nav, it's just to have a map up on the screen, maybe see some of the roads around, because most of the time for navigational purposes, I use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But we can put in destinations pretty easily. When you're stopped, you can hit the search icon, you can type something in, or you can also use the voice controls, which we'll use later on. I highly recommend, if you're someone who likes to use the built-in navigation, spend a lot of time, play around with the settings, and get comfortable with it before driving. I will say one functionality I like to have right away is to be able to toggle through to the various map modes. This is a directional heading, and then this is more of a north-up facing. Going back, let's view phone. If you have a phone connected via Bluetooth, this is going to be your dialer screen, keypad. You can see your contacts, your favorite contacts, and any recent calls that you've made. Going back, we've got FM radio. This is how your FM is going to look. You've got some favorites along the bottom, the ability to seek and tune to a station directly. Let's do like 89.3. Got our NPR going. Coming back home, I should point out that we have a dedicated sound system test for the 7-speaker sound system. If you'd like to see that, check the link below. Coming back, we'll skip over Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for the moment. We do have Sirius XM in this Trail Sport model, but the base model Ridgeline is not going to have it. Either way, this is how it looks. Again, favorites along the bottom, the ability to switch manually through channels or through types of music, and you can click channel list, get a nice big list of channels there. Let's go to this one, and you could pause it, and you can actually move back a lot of time as well. No, you can't. You can only move back as long as you've been listening. That's what I figured. Okay. Coming back home, Bluetooth audio. If you wanted to play Bluetooth audio from your phone, that's how you do it. Scrolling over, we see general and vehicle settings. We'll get back to those in a moment. If you choose trip computer, that's going to give you information for your current drive with both fuel range, average fuel economy. If you press A, that's going to show for trip A and trip B. To reset those, you do that with the center screen over there. USB audio over here. This is how it's going to look. Fairly straightforward, but you can hit browse, go through your different songs that you have on your USB drive. Back home. AM radio. Looking very similar to FM. System updates. If you were connected to Wi-Fi, you could connect and see if the system has any over-the-air updates to perform. There's your clock screen that we saw earlier by clicking on the clock. Honda Link's going to give you the ability to sync this vehicle with your phone and access different functionality that way. Unfortunately, because we don't own this vehicle, we don't have a way to demonstrate that. Smart shortcuts. This is a way that you can set things up to quickly make different calls or music or navigation, and it'll actually learn things you do often, and then it will provide shortcuts to you. Like right now it's saying, oh, you might want to call Alyssa Dreyer, which is actually pretty smart because that's my wife. For some reason it thinks I might be interested in listening to NBA radio or MSNBC, but those are probably stations that somebody who drove this vehicle previously want to listen to. That's kind of interesting. And then display mode. You can switch different brightnesses here for the center display and also turn the screen off, which makes it a nice, dark, pleasant experience in here. Heading back home, let's click on all apps, see if we missed anything here. It shows you in a little more of a list format, any applications. It looks like we got all of those, so let's head back home and go over to general settings. So we're not going to go into every little nitty-gritty detail, but we're going to try to hit the main stuff here. So starting off in system, we showed you date and time. For languages, you've got English, Spanish, and French, and you can switch between the meter and the center display, having different languages, which is interesting. Touch panel sensitivity, you can actually change this to high, which you might like if you've got good dexterity, but maybe if you're somebody who's a little more heavy-handed, you want to have that on normal. System volumes, you can change the navigation volume, text-to-speech, ringtone, etc. Factory data reset down there near the bottom. When you sell your Ridgeline, you're going to want to go there and reset to clear all of your information. Heading back, we've got smartphone connection. We're going to see that here soon, but allows you to choose which smartphone you use for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then below that, connections as well. You've got Wi-Fi. If you want to set this up for your at-home Wi-Fi in case there are any updates to get, you might want to use that. And then also Bluetooth connections there. We're going to see that later. It looks like you can have up to 6 devices connected or remembered in the vehicle at least. Under display settings, you have the ability to adjust the brightness as well as contrast levels and black levels. Under your sound settings, you have adjustments for bass, mid-range, and treble, as well as front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance, and a speed volume compensation. Under camera, you have the ability to turn on or off the guidelines as you're backing up. So I'll show you right here. If I put it into reverse, then we can see those lines. And if I turn the steering wheel, the lines turn with me to show which way I'm going to go. So that's something that you can adjust settings for there. Coming back out of general settings and into vehicle settings, we see the driver assist system setup. Okay, so this is going to take you through all of the different driver assistant functionality here in the Ridgeline and allow you to customize them, maybe turn them on or off. So say, for example, you're somebody who likes to change lanes without using your blinker, then maybe you want to turn something like your lane keeping assist off so that you can do that and it's not trying to fight you. Also, if you find the car beeping at you too frequently when you're coming up close to somebody, maybe you live somewhere in New York where there's a lot of kind of short following distances, you might want to turn your forward collision warning distance to long, or short, I suppose it would be. Meter setup, we can adjust when trip A and trip B reset if you want it to, every time you refuel, automatically reset one of your trips, or every time you start the vehicle. That could be nice if you're tracking your mileage. Can adjust an offset for the outside temperature reading. If you find that it's off, you can adjust that by up to 5 degrees in every direction. Reverse alert tone, you can actually have that on or off. That's interesting. Speed and distance units, if you're going to drive this car in another country, you might want to switch that over to kilometers per hour and kilometers. Tachometer, oh, we can turn the tachometer and the meter display off. How does that look then? I still see the tachometer. Does that mean if I choose something right here like range and fuel? Ah, okay, then the tachometer goes completely away. Visually, I guess I kind of like having it up there. I'm going to leave it on, but it does look a little busier. The fuel efficiency backlight. Some of you may want this off as well. When you drive the Ridgeline, if you're driving efficiently, it gives a little green halo around the gauges, and I think it goes to white if you're driving inefficiently. You can turn that off there in the meter setup. Driving position setup, so you can have this linked to your memories right here. Just hook it up to different keys to remember that. And seat position movement on entry and exit. If you want the seat to come back, make it easier to get in and out of, you can turn that on. Keyless access setup. This is actually something I want. Door unlock mode. I want this to be all doors. So when I grab the driver door handle, it unlocks all the doors, because I often come in, put a backpack or something in the back seat before getting in. I want to be able to just put my hand on the handle and open that rear door. A lot of other functionality here for beeps and sounds that the vehicle can make when you lock and unlock. Same with setting. You can adjust how long the headlights stay on as you get out of the car, the sensitivity for the auto headlamps, and if you want your headlights to come on when your wipers are on. I like that. Again, under door and window setup, we're seeing similar things. Auto door lock, auto door unlock, different functionality you can customize, and maintenance information. All right, let's dive into a little bit of the voice command here. So you've got a voice control button on the left side of the steering wheel. You can press it. Navigate to Starbucks.
Did you say Starbucks?
Yes.
Searching for Starbucks. Select a line number.
1.
Starbucks. Would you like to start navigation?
Yes. It was a little
300 feet, turn left and then in the...
So it was a little wordy there, but it actually responded pretty quickly and got everything going very nice. Cancel navigation.
Stopping route.
What's the weather like tomorrow?
Please say again.
What's the weather like tomorrow?
Please say again.
Set the driver's temperature to 59 degrees.
59 West Central Avenue, Eager, Arizona, 85925, United States. Would you like to start navigation?
No. Cancel. Alright, so it's a fairly rudimentary system, but it'll give you your navigation, make phone calls, tune to different radio stations, etc. But you're not getting smart support like the weather or sports scores or adjusting the climate control or anything. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I'm going to show you Android Auto first, because we already have our Android device hooked up, and then we'll switch over to CarPlay. So you can see Android Auto looking good, taking up the whole screen. It's in a dark mode right now. You've got the split screen setup with your map, and then the music over on the right. Let's bring up our full app list here. This would give you the ability to get back to the home Honda system, but you can also just press the home button. I also should point out there's a very subtle lip at the bottom of the screen, and it does make it kind of nice to rest my fingers and then point around. Let's take a look first at Google Maps. There's Google Maps launching itself there, looking good. Have the ability to move around, getting a good amount of refresh. I like that. Pinch and zoom, recenter. And if we go back home, now you can see Google Maps there. And our YouTube music. Let's bring up YouTube music full screen. Hit the super mix. What are we getting today? Magic by Young Gravy. A lot of Young Gravy liking to pop up here in the infotainment reviews. Let's head home now, and we'll hook up Apple CarPlay. So this will be how you pair up a phone via Bluetooth as well. So we've got our iPhone, opening it up. Let's bring up the settings screen, go to Bluetooth, and then on the car, I'm going to go, what's going to be the best way to do this? I'm going to go over to General Settings, and then Connections, Bluetooth, Connect New Device. It's going to cancel out my old device. And then on the phone, I'm going to scroll all the way down. I see Honda Ridgeline in this case. Click that. And then I hit pair on my phone when the code comes up. Allow favorites and contacts sync. And then any minute I should get a prompt for Apple CarPlay. Would you like to enable Apple CarPlay? I press yes on the car screen. And then on the phone, I got use CarPlay. I'm going to click yes on that. And there we are, Apple CarPlay coming up. And I gotta say, it's a really low resolution display. You can see how much blockier it looks and how much less is coming up on the screen compared to Android Auto. So it's just not adapting to the screen size as well, but we can scroll over. I mean, at least everything's really big and easy to click. So we can bring up Google Maps, move it around, but no pinch to zoom on Apple. So if we want to zoom out on this very small screen, we gotta click like that. Let's go home, bring up our YouTube music, hit the super mix. What are we getting on the iPhone? Some Epica, very different vibe than the Young Gravy. That's our now playing screen, going back home, and then you can see music playing on the right, map on the left, and just like with Android Auto, I can click home, and we're right back to the Honda screen. So there it is, infotainment breakdown on the Honda Ridgeline for 2024. What do y'all think? Is there anything I can answer for you? Ask me in the comments. I'll try to get back to you there quickly, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.